all the questions as we get up with you starting right now. Let's go. We are presented by Yeti and delighted to have you and delighted to have all of you and delighted to have PK who is with us through the NHL playoffs. We'll have a little therapy for Vinny here as we go. The Detroiter this morning. The Win Man is up with us early today. And let us take you to this room where it happened in Detroit. Cavs and Pistons Game 7. Detroit 5-0 at home in Game 7s in franchise history. Final seconds of the first quarter. Cavs are up by 6. Here comes Donovan Mitchell, 3-2. Why would we show it if it doesn't go in?
And you love the fact that Donovan Mitchell in this first quarter really came out, got everybody involved, and then made this dagger going into the second quarter.
9-point Cleveland lead after one. Second quarter, the lead is 8. And really where this game was decided was in the painted area, although it's not actually painted in Detroit. Vinny, the big men for Cleveland dominated inside.
Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, they dominated in ways that Jalen Duren, Isaiah Stewart, and Paul Reed could not.
Minute to play in the half. The Cavs are up by 17 points. Look at this pass. Allen plus the foul. Allen 15 in the first half. Mobley 12 in the first half. Cavs by 17 at halftime. And then Monica, 3 minutes to play in the third. More of the same. Look at Mitchell getting to the hole.
It was a parade to the paint, Greeny, and that is an area where the Pistons have previously dominated in the series. 58-34, your final paint scoring number.
You keep waiting for Detroit to make the run, and it just never happened. Look at this nasty move.
Woo!
Donovan Mitchell, he would score 26, 6 boards, 8 assists.
Shoot him.
Cavs win going away 125-94. There'll be better Game 7s, we hope, someday for Cade Cunningham. This was not his night. So the Cavaliers become the third team in NBA postseason history to win a Game 7 on the road by 30 points. The Philadelphia Warriors did it in 1948. The Mavericks more recently beat the Suns by 33 points 4 years ago. Here's Donovan Mitchell on finally making it to the Final Four.
A breath of fresh air, but like you said, we didn't just come here that wasn't the goal when we started the season. Personally and as a team, we can breathe a little bit, but in the same token, we can only breathe for about 12 hours and then get right back to it.
That game sucked. Being back home, definitely wanted to get this win in front of the fans. Reminded me of last year, losing on the home court. It's not a great feeling.
All right, a lot to unpack here. We've got exactly the right people to do it. Winman, I'll start with you. The Cavaliers, this group that made the aggressive move for James Harden before the trade deadline, it pays off. They're in the conference final. How did they do it?
Well, listen, I don't want to overreact, but this was probably one of the most important moments of Donovan Mitchell's career to this point. He had not played well in games 5 and 6. He had only had 8 total assists over the previous 3 games in this series, and you can tell he came out in this game looking to create. He had 3 assists on the first 4 possessions of the game, Greeny, playing through the big men. By the end of the game, he had 8 assists, and they were 8 of 8 off of his passes. He had 26 points. It was an excellent scoring game for him, but Donovan Mitchell set the tone as a playmaker in this game, and it was able to crack the Detroit defense.
It reminds me of that line from Ace Ventura. I have exorcised the demons. This house is clear. I'm going to tell you guys, I've watched Donovan Mitchell since he was a freshman at Louisville when he was more of a slasher. Watching him be aggressive and get his other teammates involved in the game set the tone for this team defensively. So I'm happy to see him get over the hump. Secondly, I have to say this. You might not see it in the box score from James Harden, but he was plus 31 last night. He was tied for first with plus 31. That is the reason why you got him in that Darius Garland trade. Defensively, he was able to switch. He was able to body up a lot of the bigs, and I think he still was a playmaker. And the duality of the playmaking between Donovan Mitchell and James Harden made this team offensively more diverse.
So for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. The Cavaliers are elated, and they're on their way here to New York. The Detroit Pistons are going home for a summer filled with questions off what was undoubtedly a very, very good year, but it ends the way it ends last night. Vinny, you are our 313 correspondent. What do we say? So I'm told what up, doe can be a greeting and it can be a statement. What is the statement that what up, doe makes this morning?
What up, though, could also be a threat.
Okay. So, who are we threatening this morning?
Everybody. Every Pistons starter except for Cade Cunningham and Asar Thompson. But what I think you saw last night was a tired team. Like, they looked like they had no juice. And when that happens because you've been playing, every other day from the Orlando series. After game 1 of that series where they fall behind, they've been behind the 8 ball. But that is still no excuse to not show up on your home floor for Game 7. I think it says two things. For one, or the most important thing is, when you lose close to close a series, you walk away feeling like, you know what, if some things go our way, maybe we could have gone to the conference finals. When you lose decisively like this, it's an autopsy. It says, you know what, we got questions about Jalen Duren. We have questions about, hey, is Tobias Harris the right veteran? What are we going to do about Duncan Robinson? The only two, guys that I would say are untouchable, Asar Thompson and, of course, Cade Cunningham. Everything else should be led to an offseason of we aren't as good as our record, and we have to find a way to take the next step.
I kind of thought Game 5 offered the moment to really dissect. The way they gave up that, if I'm not mixing up my games, but the way they gave up that 9-point lead late, that to me was the one really to dissect. This one to me was largely about fatigue. But I will say, guys, I'm kind of excited for this Pistons organization and Cade Cunningham, because how often have we talked about needing the requisite scar tissue? Twice now. Moments that are going to live in Cade Cunningham's mind for him to go back to last season at home, this season at home, Game 7. Like, you talk about a team that's kind of going to be battle-tested once they actually figure it all out. And I don't know that I buy that they're that far away.
Well, they may need at least one more piece.
They do need a piece.
But here's what we have now. We got 4 teams left. Let's take a look at where we stand at DraftKings Sportsbook. The New York Knicks and Cleveland Cavaliers, this is 820. The Knicks are minus 265 to win this series. As you can see, it's by a slim margin, but it is an actually greater favorite than OKC is to beat San Antonio. They're minus 260. The Knicks are minus 265 to beat the Cavaliers. That series opens tomorrow night at the Garden. You are my Knicks expert. Talk to me about that matchup. Knicks, Cavaliers, what did we see this season, and what do we expect starting tomorrow night?
Well, the Knicks led the series 2-1 this season. Now, the matchup in February was sort of a turning point, if you will, for the Knicks season. It prompted some team meetings and all that good stuff. But I think the thing, Greeny, that's sneaky when you look at this one is I don't think these teams has faced this current version either way, whether you talk about James Harden and Max Strus on the Cleveland side of the house or the offense that the Knicks are currently running. And so I think it's going to look a little different than what we saw during the regular season. I will say this. Immediately, I think about Karl Anthony Towns as a hub and likely drawing Evan Mobley out of the paint, assuming that he'll have that assignment. The Knicks' sort of wrinkle in this is that they can go double bigs to match up with Cleveland and put Robinson and Towns on the floor. And of those 4 guys, Robinson has been the most physical when I think about bigs that make an impact on the game.
First blush, Knicks and Cavs. Wendy, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I agree with Monica. The regular season is irrelevant. I don't care about it. They only played 1 game with Harden, and the way the Knicks are playing offense, completely different style. The Cavs will have almost no time to prepare for it. In this series against Detroit, the Cavs put Evan Mobley on Asar Thompson. He never left the paint. He let Asar Thompson go wherever he wanted on offense. He stayed as a rim protector. That won't be the case if they put him on Karl Towns. He will have to go out there and defend Towns at the high post. The other thing is, couple of years ago, 3 years ago, these teams played in the playoffs, and Mitchell Robinson absolutely annihilated the matchup with Jarrett Allen. Jarrett Allen made a reference after this, sort of infamous in Cleveland, that he thought the lights were too bright for him. Robinson crushed him, physicality around the rim. Jarrett Allen has come back and completely changed the reputation around him in the playoffs. He has had 2 brilliant Game 7s for the Cavs in this postseason, including a playoff career high 23 yesterday. This will often also come down to how the Allen-Robinson matchup unfolds.
I'm going to go Knicks in 5. And I know that may sound absurd to say, but when you think
I don't think it sounds absurd.
When you think about the way Cavs had the matchup against Detroit, you saw everything load up towards Cade Cunningham all the time. They tried to move Cade Cunningham off the ball a little bit and actually worked a little bit to their favor. Now going against this iteration of this Knicks team, when Karl Anthony Towns can spread Evan Mobley out, James Harden and Donovan Mitchell guarding off the ball is very different than them guarding on the ball. Don't forget, James Harden was brought there in exchange for Darius Garland to defend against bigger guards on the ball. Off the ball, sometimes they get caught asleep, and that duality of moving without the ball is where the Knicks have a huge advantage.
I think it's important to point out about 4 or 5 months ago, James Dolan went on the radio on January 6th and said, we have to make it to the NBA Finals this year. A month later, the Cleveland Cavaliers trade for James Harden, an all-in move. So you have these two teams that have had a desperate mandate, either by action or by, verbal declaration from owner that you have to at least get here. So in essence, these are the two teams that should be in the Eastern Conference Finals.
They couldn't have gotten here more different ways.
Yeah.
The Cavaliers had to get there scratching and clawing through a Game 7, and the Knicks have been sitting since last Sunday.
Similarly to what we saw last round, though, Greeny, the schedule does no one any favors in this one either. And the Knicks are a team that obviously have had an abundance of time to scout, rest, add another layer, if you will, to that offense. So we'll see what the Cavs look like rolling into the garden.
And I was reading in the notes yesterday, OG Anunoby is practicing
yes.
fully, right? That's
Yep.
obviously the most important benefit they get from this rest.
He's going to be huge. Like, I already imagine they will deploy Bridges and Anunoby between Mitchell and Harden, at least for that initial assignment.
And Green, that the Cavs are the only team in the NBA that are in the second apron right now, so they are all in as well.
And I just want to show you one more thing before I run to some other stuff. A24, Cindy, I saw this note as we wrap up the round and we wrap up a Game 7. Over the last decade, home teams, take the bubble out of it because there really were no home teams. Home teams actually have a losing record in Game 7s in the NBA playoffs. And as you see, prior to that, the whole history of the league, they had a winning percentage of greater than 80%. And all of a sudden, over the last 10 years, home court has been a disadvantage. I don't know that we have to attach analysis to it beyond it's just an interesting observation. Can anyone think of a reason why this might be? It could be just randomness or whatever the case may be. But it jumped off. I said, I want to put that in the show this morning. I just find it an interesting note.
It's the three-point shot. It's the effect of the three-point shot adds to the heaviness. Yeah, It's a completely different ball game because of the randomness of it. 2017, we were still in the infancy of the Stephen Curry NBA that we're in now.
It's fascinating.
That's my man.
Yeah.
There you go. I said, is there a reason for this?
play.
And he gave us a reason for it. I like that.
Well,
That's what we like about Vinny Goodwill.
The next question I have on the stat would be, in those series, what teams are winning games consecutively, right? Because I just think Detroit had to empty the clip to get to Game 7.
Yeah.
And so, they gave it up in 6. Like, the 6-7, I would be curious what that looks like.
That's right. You should have looked into that, Vinny.
knew you would do that.
I think that's all my praise. All right, coming up,
couldn't help myself.
It is time for the wrath of Wemby. What happened?